We all know what happened on February 1st, 2025. But before that, let's go all the way back to May 30th, 2024. Luka Doncic closes out the Minnesota Timberwolves in the Western Conference Finals with an unbelievable performance of 36 points, 10 rebounds, and 5 assists on 63% from the field and 60% from three, sending the Dallas Mavericks to the finals for the first time in 13 years. Luka Doncic just wrapped up a regular season as the scoring champ, averaging 34 points per game, finished third in MVP, and finished as a Western Conference Finals MVP, and also put up stats like 73 points, 10 rebounds, and 7 assists, 50 points and 50 assists, 45 points and 15 assists, and 36 points, 15 rebounds, and 18 assists. Even with the finals loss, I think we can all unanimously agree that the best of Luka Doncic has yet to come.
Quite literally, the craziest trade in NBA history just went down. I still can't believe that it is true.
Oh, I was shocked. I was shocked because I couldn't believe that any franchise. It's the biggest shock that I've ever seen covering the NBA all of these years, guys.
Welcome everybody into a very special episode of Nerd Sesh. What in God's name just happened, Logan? The craziest NBA trade of our lifetimes, maybe of all time. Reported by Shams, my first thought was that he was hacked. Like, I didn't think that this could possibly be real.
After a Rookie of the Year, 5 straight All-NBA teams, a scoring title, 2 Western Conference Finals appearances, and a Finals appearance, Luka Doncic was traded. At 25 years old, Luka Doncic was now a Los Angeles Laker, and this will 100% go down as the biggest trade in NBA history. Some of the biggest narratives around Luka was the defense and the conditioning, and these were fair criticisms of Luka, but it wasn't enough to trade him. And I think it's fair to say, compared to his standards, Luka Doncic had a down year. And I know this may sound crazy, 28 points per game, 8 rebounds per game, and 7.5 assists per game on 59% true shooting doesn't really sound like a bad year. But when we look at the film, we aren't looking at the same Luka Doncic. This is the lowest percent Luka Doncic shot from inside the arc in his entire career for the Lakers at 49%. He operates out of switches and attacking bigger centers in isolation, and he really struggled with this stint in LA. And Luka Doncic is still one of the better isolation and pick and roll guards in the game, but you can tell, and we saw signs of this a few seasons ago, that Luka may be losing his first step. Luka Doncic is known for having an array of different counters and moves he can go to in isolation or pick and roll, whether it's out of the post, spin moves, crossovers. That just did not go his way this season, and he really struggled to punish defenses for leaving centers out on an island. He would necessarily settle for mid-range jump shots, tough layups, foul baiting, and other things. And a lot of his isolation attempts didn't necessarily bend the defense as much as you would want it to. Therefore, Luka's passes were much harder, his shots were much harder, and his avenues to the rim were taken away, making him less of a scorer than he was in years past. With the first step taking a hit and the inability to attack mismatches and win in isolation, we saw a lot of possessions where Luka tries to sell a foul call and get to the free throw line. Sometimes it will work, but it ended in a lot of wasted possessions. And it seemed like a lot of these possessions came up when he was getting walled off from his avenue to the rim. The moment he felt contact, he would go up for a baiting type of foul or just a shot that looked like he was fouled on that possession. The referee would not call it, and it would be a wasted possession, only to make it worse by staring down the ref in transition while the other team is getting back. Luka Doncic did this much more than I feel as though the past few years, and it really took away from some of the offense that we could have got out of the Lakers this season. Even with the struggles of Luka Doncic in his brief time with the Lakers this season, he still registered some of the most efficient pick and roll and isolation possessions per game this season. Luka logged a top 5 points per possession with the 3rd highest possessions per game in the pick and roll. And that has to do with him being one of the best passers in the NBA and him increasing not only his volume, but his percentages from 3 as well. Luka Doncic has been able to win in isolation because of the added three-point shooting he's added to his game. Over the past 2 seasons, he's shot around 37% on 10-plus attempts per game over the past 2 seasons. And being able to win in isolation as being a three-point shooter when defenders have to worry about taking away the driving lanes and taking away every single passing angle on the floor, it makes it so hard to try and guard Luka Doncic one-on-one. I think a lot of people are against the heliocentric type of offense, and a heliocentric offense can't win, but I think Luka Doncic runs it almost perfectly. When you have a guy who can find every single passing angle on the floor, who's increased his volume and percentages over the past 2 seasons, and is also one of the best lob passers in the league, how do you necessarily guard that? Luka Doncic is most dangerous in spread pick and roll actions. As you can see, in both corners are 2 well-respected above league average 3-point shooters. And the roller in this situation is a pretty good lob catcher in Jackson Hayes. And with Luka Doncic having the pull-up 3-point ability that he has, you have to make a decision. Are you going to take away the floater, the lob pass, or the corner 3? He can make all 3 of those reads. Here's another look where Luka Doncic plays in the pick and roll and he gets the switch on a bigger defender and just steps back from 3 instead of beating him to the basket. And this is also why having lob catchers and rim runners on the floor with Luka is so essential. I want to watch this play one more time. As we can see, we're running another spread pick and roll action with Jackson Hayes as the roller. Kevin Porter Jr. is going to bite to take away the lob pass, and there's an open Gabe Vincent that Luka Doncic hits immediately. This may have been a bad Luka year, but I'm going to let you guys know this was not a bad basketball year. Luka Doncic was still a top 10 player for sure in the NBA this season, one of the best playmakers and one of the best volume 3-point shooters in the entire NBA. Luka Doncic was leading top tier offenses while he was on the floor with the Los Angeles Lakers. And with the possible weight loss that we saw from Luka Doncic and the potential first step that he may be getting back this season, I expect big things from Luka Doncic, and I think you should as well. People are calling Luka Doncic washed because he averaged 28 points per game, 8 rebounds, 7.5 assists on above league average true shooting, and he was one of the most efficient isolation and pick and roll guards in the entire league. So yes, this may not be up to Luka Doncic's standards, but if Jalen Brunson was having this type of year, we'd be calling him a top 3 guard in the NBA. If Darius Garland was having this same type of year, we'd be calling him a top 5 guard in the NBA. The only reason we're calling this a washed player or a bad player is because Luka Doncic has reached way higher peaks. And I'm not sitting here saying that we should not be blaming Luka for his lack of conditioning and weight gain over the past season and a half. He should be held accountable for the things he was doing over the offseason and not keeping himself in shape so he can stay basketball ready for his team that just made it to the NBA Finals. But some of this does have to do with him not being healthy throughout the entire season. Luka Doncic had a stretch this season where he looked like he was his regular self, but he got hurt again right on Christmas Day and he just was not the same. I think it's completely reasonable for us to think that Luka Doncic can reach that top 3, top 5 player level next season. I think he's going to be able to fill the box score in ways that other players just can't do. But ladies and gentlemen, if you guys like this type of content, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what you guys think Luka Doncic will be doing in the regular season next year in the comment section down below. Try to comment what you think his regular season stat line is going to be. And who knows, if somebody gets it right, you may be able to put yourself into a giveaway. And with all that being said, I will see you guys next time. Peace.